And so let's move into a time of meditation in order to open our hearts and our minds to the truth teachings that are ours, or what we call unity teachings. And so I invite you to begin by finding a comfortable position, letting your body relax, and allowing your breath to become slow and natural. And with each inhale, invite peace. And with each exhale, release tension. And allow your eyes to, if they're not already closed, allow them to gently close or soften your gaze. And bring your awareness inward into the quiet stillness of your own being. And we remember there's nothing to fix, nothing to change. We simply allow ourselves to be here, to be fully present. And I invite you to bring your mind to our affirmation for this month. And you can speak it quietly to yourself. I call forward the ability to discern the reality I desire. And just let that echo like a soft wave through your being. I call forward the ability to discern the reality I desire. And as you breathe, imagine a soft light glowing in your heart space. The light of divine wisdom. And this light, it helps us see clearly. It reveals what is real. And it dissolves any illusions gently and lovingly. And so as we take a moment, we ask within, what is real for me today? What truth is Spirit inviting me to remember? And as we go into a few moments of silence, please take those questions with you as we go into the silence. Into the silence. What is real for me today? What truth is Spirit inviting me to remember? And allow those answers, allow those visions to settle into your heart. And always remember, you are safe, you are guided, and you are free to release any illusions and align yourself with that divine reality, the one of your choosing, the one of your intentions. So take another deep breath in and release. And one more breath in and release. Now you can gently begin to bring your awareness back to this space. You might wiggle your fingers or wiggle your toes. And when you're ready, open your eyes. You are clear, you are centered, and you are ready to live from that point of truth that is you. And so it is. Amen. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing this morning? I can't begin to tell you what a joy and pleasure it is to be here with you in this sacred space. You know, I was here Mother's Day. We did pinpoint that it was Mother's Day, and a lot of this was done. A lot of it, there were little tweaks and things ready to be done. But isn't it grand what you have done and what you have created that is your home, right?
Right.
And what I'm going to also say is, and in all honesty, this is all an illusion. It is. Because if we look at the essence of what is pure, what is true, what is the only truth, is that spirit, in that realm of spirit, is the only thing that is true. Everything else is something that we have made up at some point. We used our imagination at some point to imagine what this space could look like. And then we continue to build on that with intention, with more imagination, with creating. And here's what you have. And I'm going to tell you, sometimes it's fun to live in the illusion and hang out there, isn't it? Sometimes some of the things that I imagine, some of the illusions that I succumb to, are kind of fun and kind of interesting, you know? But let's just look at a simple truth here. Not everything we experience is reality. We make up a lot of stuff. Or, well, let me speak for myself. I know that I have the capacity to be a huge storyteller. And I can make up some of the most amazing things. I tell you, it'd be scary to be up here sometimes. You don't want to take up residence up here from time to time because it can be a very scary place. Sometimes it even frightens me a little bit. But aren't we all that way to a point? We get one little tidbit of information, and because we want to know more and we find power in knowing, if we don't know, what do? We make it up. You maybe have heard me say before, I don't remember, but we are meaning-making machines. If we don't have an answer, if we don't know the whole story, we're going to fill in the gaps. Now, is that truth? Is that reality? Or is that illusion? We have to pause a lot of times, don't we, and ask ourselves, is that really true? Did I read that somewhere? Did I hear it on the TV? Did I hear it on the news? Or did I make that up? And sometimes we get so good at making things up, we kind of lose track of what's what. We lose track of what the reality is and what the illusion is. You know, when I was developing the theme for this year and each month's focus, I love Halloween. And see, to me, Halloween is all about illusion and imagination and fun and all that. So I thought, well, illusions, October, would work. Because what is Halloween? It is merely an illusion because we all walk around with masks on, hiding who we are, and living in that illusionary type experience. But you know, we live in a world of appearances, a world of headlines, a world of emotional reactions. And we have a choice. We have a choice what to hang our hat on, as my father would say. Do we succumb to some of these experiences that are all around us and become part of the group? Or do we stand in the truth of who we are? Absolutely. You know, illusions don't mean imaginary. It just means it's not founded in the truths that we know. Now, you guys are aware, you're Unity folks, you've heard a lot of this. You know, there's that capital T truth, which is that divine truth that we lean into. And then there's our little t truth. I have a lot of little t truth in my life. How about y'all? Do you? But sometimes we try to pass it off as that capital T truth because, you know, we are divine and beloved children of Source, aren't we? And yet we sometimes get caught up in our humanness and we forget, oh, my human little t truth may not be the same as my divine capital T truth. And so in that case, we might be living under the illusion that we have all the answers. How many here have all the answers? Okay, well, see, we have some brave folks. Welcome to the illusion. Oh. You know, I shared part of this talk with another group a couple of weeks ago. And out of the blue, a story came that was to be shared. And I'm like, oh, are you kidding? I have to tell that story? But I do. How many times are we caught up in a place of fear? And that fear, whenever we really get down and dig into it, it's not based on anything real. It's based on that story. It's based on that weave that we have put into it to create it. And what I've come to understand is fear is one of the greatest illusions of all. And boy, do we give into it. It's probably the most powerful of all of the illusions. And boy, do we give into it. I remember as a child, and this is the story if you were wondering. I remember as a child, probably 5, 6 years old, we lived in an upstairs, it was an up and down duplex, or they didn't call them duplexes then, they called them apartments. We had the upstairs apartment. And this was in the day before air conditioners were everywhere. And we had one air conditioner, and it was in the living room. And it was hot. You know, when people think of the Chicago, at that time I was living in the Chicago area, and people think of the Chicago area and they don't think of it getting hot. Boy, it was stifling. And my dad was traveling, and so it was just Mom and I at home. And we decided we're going to make pallets in the living room floor and sleep in there with the air conditioner because it was too hot back where the bedrooms were. So we had our pallets, and I was laying on mine, and I fell asleep. And I woke up in the middle of the night. You know, and I'm just a wee little thing. And I open my eye, and I look. And I look. Oh, my gosh. There's a monster. There's a monster over in the floor over there. You know, because I'm looking straight at this. And I was petrified. And the longer I laid there and the more I looked at that monster, you know, I could see it move. And it felt like it was getting closer. And the fear was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I could feel myself start to breathe weird. Well, thank goodness, a few minutes later, my mother woke up and had to go to the restroom. So she went through and she turned on a light. And what happened to my monster when the light came on? It disappeared. And I went, oh. and was able to let go of that fear. Now, granted, I was little and I was worked up, so it took me a few minutes to relax. You know, not like it is now where I can just relax at the drop of a hat. Yeah. If you believe that, I've got some oceanfront property in the central part of Canada that I'd like to talk to you about. So but isn't that how it is? We make up all these things in our mind. There's all these illusions of things that are going on. And when we can get ourselves centered and come back to center, come back to the truth of who we are, back to the truth of spirit, of source, the light comes on and the illusion evaporates. When we can be in the light, when we can call the light forward, it shines brightly, it shifts the shadows, and brings us to a point of clarity. How many of you have got that switch fine-tuned that you can automatically go, okay, I'm tired of playing in this little mental escapade that I've created. I'm going to turn on the light of source. It's not quite that easy, is it? And if there are those of you that can do that can just in an instant switch into that light spot, then I invite you to get some classes ready, because I'll sign up. But that's who we are. And that's actually the capacity that we have, is to go, okay, I have gotten lost in my mind, and I need the light of spirit to show me the way out. Now that light comes from within, right? Because that's where it is. It's here, it's there, it's everywhere. It's in everything we see, we know, we touch. It's in everything we think. But sometimes we let it get overshadowed. How do we know when it's an illusion and when it's real? Nobody has any ideas? So for me, it's a feeling. It's a gut. It's an instinct. It's intuition, divine wisdom, whatever it is. And that's what the affirmation is about. It's calling forward that divine wisdom to be able to make the discernment. And so how do we get things to happen more readily and more easily in our lives? How do we get that switch working better? Well, now let's see. This is unity, right? It could be through affirmations. It could be meditation. It could be through journaling, through intention setting. Do y'all do those things? Yeah? Surrender. Oh, okay, I have created a royal mess here in my mind, and I can't manage it anymore. I have created something so big that I can no longer even control it. So, breathe into spirit. Take that deep breath in. Have I talked to y'all about reset breathing before? No? Some of you know what it is. Before I go into meditation, before I go into, meetings that might be a little bit challenging, sometimes when I'm on the phone, I need to put them on hold. And I remember doing this in my days in corporate America. Put somebody on hold, take a few good deep reset breaths, and then pick up, and I'm able to be nice. You feel yourself getting to that edge of not being nice, do a reset breath. If you need to go excuse yourself to the restroom for a moment, do that. So reset breathing. Taking a deep breath in through your nose and blowing it out through your mouth. You do that 3 times. Now, what I will say, if you're not used to doing that, you might get lightheaded because you probably just took in more oxygen than you have in a month. Okay? But that always works. I have conditioned myself, and I've not really ever talked to anybody who didn't have this experience. It brings us back to center. You know, you guys had Stogood do the women's retreat, and one of their songs, and I will play it. If I find myself kind of in a cranky mood or just out of sorts, I'll put it on loop, and I'll play, Bring Me Back to Center. And just, because it's just a reminder. And do my reset breaths and bring myself back. When I am centered, it becomes very obvious to me what is an illusion and what is reality. Because it clears my vision. It clears my vision, it clears my cognition, it clears the path for discernment. When I am in center, I have the ability to know and to be and to determine, is this true or is it not? We have tools. We have tools that get us there. We have tools that help us to know who we are. And I would say that right now in this day and time, and please hear me, I'm not venturing into the political world other than the fact that we are seeing people not show up as their best selves all over the place. Okay? And so, what is ours to do? Is it to not show up as our best self and join in? Or is it to take that deep reset breath, center ourselves in the truth of who we are and the truth that we know, which is we are pure love in expression. See, for me, what I believe, and I don't get it all the time. I don't do it all the time because I am still in this human skin. If we don't show up as the light that we are in the face of everything that is going on in the world today, we are missing an opportunity to make the change in the proper position of consciousness. That which we resist, what happens to it? Persists. And not only does it persist, but it grows in magnitude. If I show up as love, well, I'll share a story. Just a wee story. Some of us went to lunch on Friday, and we went into a restaurant, and we had a waitress who, you could tell she had a little bristle going on. You know, her responses were a little short. We went around the table, and I was the last one to order. And I looked at her, and I called her by name, and I asked her a question, and you could almost watch her shift. Well, she wound up being one of the best waitresses, and she was friendly, and she was jovial, and she played with us, but it took meeting her in an opposite place of where she was in that moment. Meeting her with joy, meeting her with a smile, seeing her, calling her by name, letting it be known that I see you and I recognize you. And she shifted. And everybody at the table shifted and had a good time. Now that's a little thing. But if we can see that we have that kind of an impact on a waitress, why can't we see that we can have that kind of an impact on the world around us? Everything that's going on right now is an illusion of our creating. And so I invite us to create differently. I invite us to create a world of peace. I invite us to create a world where we hear each other. I invite us to create a world where respect is something that is still cherished. And we don't do that, and y'all excuse me, we don't do that by bitching and moaning. But we do it by showing up and being that which we desire. And so, in closing, I just want to say, you guys have something amazing going on right here. Hold the vision. Hold the vision of something even higher than you thought was possible. Hold the vision for peace and harmony. Hold the vision for families coming in these doors. Hold the vision for diversity to be celebrated and not cast aside. And hold that vision for here, in this place, and in your life in general. There's a richness that's available to us. And if we don't embrace it, honestly, it's our own loss. And so I encourage you, be abundant in your dreams, abundant in your visions, and abundant in the desires of your heart. For you are powerful, powerful beyond measure. And you have the ability to see through the illusions, to flip on the light, and to be that light for yourself and for all those around you. Namaste.